Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content on info@millenniumnews24.com. Download the Millennium News 24 app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Stay tuned with Millennium TV and Millennium News 24 for the latest updates.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my show. This is your host, Jineea Butler, with the New American Perspective here on this Wednesday. We've got so much to talk about. Our world has crashed as we know it. Here on Millennium News 24, up-to-date news on everything that's going on. The real, the raw, the truth about what's happening here in the United States. And this is your New American Perspective. And again, I'm your host, Jineea Butler. It's great to see you this week. My co-host, AB Butler, should be tapping in with us in a few. But right now, let's just get right into it. Where are we? We are, right now, we're in Charlie Kirk's America, right? So we just memorialized Charlie Kirk, the activist who was shot down live in the public forum by Tyler Robinson. Well, allegedly Tyler Robinson last week, after he did said his last words to his the college campus of the University of Utah Valley, and people came out in numbers. Tens of thousands of people crowded in the Arizona arena, and they said goodbye to Charlie. But what most people are talking about is that his wife, Erica Kirk, she went up and she did her display, and her courage and her strength just resonated with everybody. And she said what I think that we all have to take a moment and decide whether it's something that we could do. She said, "I forgive Charlie's killer, the shooter that shot Charlie." Now they're saying that this may be Tyler Robinson. I mean, I don't know. Like we talked about last year, I feel like when they pulled some people to the side and said, "Oh, we got the shooter, I felt like the real shooter was actually getting away, right? And then all of a sudden, Tyler Robinson's family turned him in for the death penalty. I don't know. Butler Gang, what do you think? Or is a family turning you in for knowing that you're going to get the death penalty? His father was a sheriff in his town, and so they said that they saw him on TV and they recognized him, and they told him that he needed to turn himself in. And he said that Charlie was sending hateful messages across the world, and he needed to be stopped. And they said, "Okay, well, we need to peacefully turn you in." So they turned him in. We seen him. To me, it looked like the AI him. We seen him on in a court hearing where he was, doing the nod. He was sitting there. I guess he had a bulletproof vest on because the other inmates might have guns and shoot him. I don't know. What was with the vest? I'm not sure. But he was sitting there and he was nodding. It was like the AI nod. I'm gonna call that the AI nod. He was nodding and saying that he understood what was being told to him. And so she said, I went up there and I cried with her, because it's like, how do you that's the time that we really have to look and feel, are we really of God? When those that are Christians or churchgoers, even Muslims, or whatever it is that you are in the faith, how do you forgive a murderer? How do you forgive somebody that killed your husband? How do you forgive somebody that took the father away from your children? And she got up there and it looked very convincing. She said, "I forgive him." And I thought that was huge. I thought that was big. I thought that was a moment, and it was. Then she left out. Donald Trump came on the stage, gave great words of wisdom, great words of sentiment for Charlie and his family. And then here goes the little weird part. On the New American Perspective, we always got to look at everything. So then came out, then it was like Charlie's wife and President Trump had, a really, great embrace. It was a little weird, but it was like a father figure consoling his daughter, only that wasn't his daughter. And we don't know that he's been a father figure to her. But it was very nice. It was very nice of Trump. He gave her a bunch of hugs, a bunch of kisses. But the internet went crazy. They started talking about, hold up, wait a minute. They found out that Erica Kirk, I don't, this is just alleged at this point. They found out that Erica Kirk actually has been on as was in 2012 part of Miss USA pageant, which Donald Trump's company ran before. So she run in Arizona USA. She didn't go on to she won Miss Arizona, and she didn't go on to Miss USA, but they're saying that there's connection with Trump, and Erica worked with Trump before. So we don't know the relationship. Maybe the relationship with Charlie, and the reason why he got so cool with Trump was because of her relationship. We thought maybe it was from the turning point, but we always know there has to be a point of access into the process. And so it looked like, Erica, they named her the CEO now. So she is now the CEO of Turning Point. They said that Charlie Kirk wanted her, among all others, to carry on his legacy, and she's fired up. And there's a million Charlie Kirks out here, and they are fired up, and they are ready to do the job that Charlie did not finish. So Charlie has some unfinished business out here. People are still fighting back and forth. We know Jimmy Kimmel is back on air. Okay. So Jimmy Kimmel, who got fired amidst uh, uh, the Charlie Kirk situation. Jimmy Kimmel got fired from his job on his late night show. And the people said, power to the people. And the people got him back. And so the people started boycotting and started talking about free speech, and how Jimmy Kimmel, he didn't really go that far. Like if he would have went far, I'd have said, Jimmy, that was tasteless. But he really didn't go that far. Not to me, at least. He just said he had took a shot at Trump. And I think that Trump didn't like that, because if you remember Trump, when a reporter had asked Trump, how you feeling, about the Charlie Kirk death? How you doing? He said, yeah, it's good, but look over here and look at this new ballroom gala wing that we're putting together. It's going to be awesome. So he kind of like his brain skipped a beat, and I'm sure that he feels some type of way. Because how do you feel after, after you've gone for president, you yourself have run for president, just you by yourself, and then other people are dying. People took two attempts at suicide at your life, two attempts to murder you, right? Two assassinations attempt on you, and then other people have passed away. So, I'm sure that President Trump is suffering from survivor's guilt. I'm sure that's something that we won't particularly know, whether or not. I don't think that's something that he's going to say, is that, I'm suffering from survivor's guilt, and I feel really bad that, Charlie lost his life. He's 31. President Trump is 81. So whoever it was that killed Charlie, and I don't think that it's a lone gunman, Tyler Robinson, that took out so much legacy in this man and created, a Dr. King-like character in the white community. Now, don't go saying that around Roland Martin or anybody like that, Al Sharpton or anybody like that. And don't even tell them that I said it, because they are like, listen, he has done nothing like Martin Luther King has done. And, they talked about how many people came out to people's funerals. There's about 100,000 people at Charlie's funeral. They said there's about 100,000, 150,000 at Dr. King's funeral. But that was with no social media, people. So if I think all of Black America, if we had the access that we have now, and to go into Dr. King's funeral, I think it would have been way more than that. But the reason why that they are saying that this is like Dr. King is because, they assassinated him in the middle of his conversation. I don't think that he's done what he's, obviously what he's done for the Black community, but what he's done for the white community, I think, is on the level of Dr. King for us. Now, they can call whoever they want. I think that we in our community get it wrong when we start to tell them, how they can feel, and I think that's why Charlie emerged, is because Charlie was the white man's conversation. Charlie said what white people want to say to Black people, want to say to Muslims, and he was talking tough. And that's why we heard the people saying, white man stand up, white man stand up. Remember we heard that? Oh no, it was white men fight back, white men fight back. And everybody's like, fight back against who? The white man killed Charlie. So who are you fighting back against? But it's just a white man's cry to get the courage for young people and for them to step up and say what they're feeling. Now, here's the problem. Just because they're stepping up and saying what they're feeling doesn't mean what they're feeling is correct. That's the problem, because Charlie, he had lots of opinions and lots of thoughts, but if you listen to him, he would say that his word is gospel, that he's going to get the last word. He's going to be crafty in his conversation. This is a boy, a young man that didn't go to college, that's going on college campuses and debating young people about what they think. Now, I think that was partly in due to him, not going to college, and the simple fact that he was saying, hey, I didn't need to go to college to know this common sense stuff. And you're in college and you can't debate me, who you're supposed to be able to take out in 10 minutes. But Charlie had his way. And, again, I feel so sorrowful for it, because he was 31 years old. So he had a definite future, and maybe they were planning for him to be the president. I got word that he allegedly was going to be JD Vance's vice president, who JD Vance, got on. We don't even hear from JD Vance. And JD Vance got on and hosted his show. Megyn Kelly got on and hosted his show. So we've seen people jump out all kinds of ways in this Charlie Kirk incident. And again, Jimmy Kimball was the one that got hurt the worst. But again, he's back on. So last night he got back on and he didn't stop, and he did not apologize. Now, Jimmy Kimball is back on, right? But not everywhere. Okay. So Sinclair Broadcasting, they said, listen, unless Jimmy gives us a donation, they want some money. They want some money. They want some of that FCC. They want some money. Unless Jimmy gives us a donation, an apology, and a commitment, we're not putting him on our station. So there's a bunch of states that didn't get to see him last night, that he didn't preview on, and I think that's good. But now look, he went from maybe having 400 or maybe 200,000 viewers to now 6.7 million viewers. So where Donald Trump was saying that this show is suffering, where he's saying the show is suffering, it's not doing good, it's going out the window. Well, it didn't go that far out the window, because now he's up. And so now people are going to be listening for him. But how long are they now going to take him? Because now the fight becomes between him and President Trump. And so who's going to win? Now, we know President Trump is the ultimate competitor. I don't know if he played sports in the past or what, but he is the ultimate competitor. And he really doesn't like Jimmy. Anytime that President Trump doesn't like somebody, he calls them low IQ. I mean, not that they even tested their IQ, but he calls them low IQ. He's a low IQ, untalented, unskilled individual, according to Trump. Now, I don't know him. Obviously he got to where he is because of that, but he is back. So power to the people and power to everybody that stood up. And they even had a clip of Snoop Dogg where Snoop Dogg was like, hey, Jimmy, you think they're going to cancel you one day? And Jimmy said, you know what? It'll probably happen like that. And it sure did. So we will see, Jimmy. I don't think that this is going to last long, because I think ratings are going to go up and down. And I think that, ABC at the end of the day is going to choose to go in another direction. And it's a sorrowful thing. Jimmy came on crying. He was, had the crocodile tears, talking about, that he was not mocking somebody's death. And, he had wrote on Twitter, shout out to the family, and that his comments were really towards President Trump and their hatred towards them. So President Trump said, well, look, since they put him back on, I might have to sue them because this is an illegal campaign contribution for the Democrats. So we will be right back here with the New American Perspectives. Let us know what you think here on Millennium News 24. I'm at Jineea Butler on all social medias, at Millennium News 24. Let us know. Put it in the comments in the Facebook, and let us know how you feel and thinking, and what is your perspective on what's happening this week. We will be right back with the New American Perspective here on Millennium News 24. And we are back here on the New American Perspective with your host. I am Jineea Butler, here without my Butler gang partner, AB Butler, with the G checks, and just giving you straight news, because we need some G checks in the house anyhow. But back at it, so this week, it's UN week in New York. Now, I was hearing that the UN is supposed to be moving to South Africa. I have to look into that, but I think that would be good. Everybody got to go to South Africa. Everybody has to come to New York from all over the world. So why can't we go to South Africa to meet for United Nation events and affairs? But I'm hearing that it's moving out of New York. And so it's UN week. We're talking about all of the economics around the world, all of the unity and the leadership needed in places, and, the help that's needed across the world, and how we're, pushing our resources back and forth to each other. So shout out to everybody down at the UN. I believe that we have a live coverage of the UN today here on Millennium News 24. So definitely check that out. Let me see what else we got going on. Mom Dami. So let's stick and stay on Jimmy Kimmel. So Mom Dami. Now he's getting brolic, right? Because he knows it's coming up. Now, this is not too far, New Yorkers, okay? This is your last chance to register to vote, become a part of the process, and make no complaints after November, okay? Because we know Eric Adams is probably out. We haven't heard from him in the last week. I haven't heard from him or seen anything. I'm sure, we know Eric is not going to back down, but I'm hearing that he might drop out the race. So who knows? So I'm hearing that, Eric Adams may be dropping out the race. We're not sure. But Mom Dami pulled out. Okay. It didn't take him long to pull out. Mom Dami pulled out of ABC Town Hall in response to Jimmy Kimmel. So now what that says to me, my perspective on that is that what that says to me is that Mom Dami is looking for national attention, right? It's one thing, of supporting, Jimmy Kimmel, but I think he was ready to go out and protest and all this kind of stuff. So Mom Dami, to me, I think that was good support. And, I'm sure he'll be on the Jimmy Kimmel show when he becomes the mayor. And, I'm sure he wants some of that Eric Adams nighttime mayor. And let me say this, people, let me say this is a G check, okay? Let me say this, is that all of you people who said that Eric Adams was a nighttime mayor, I better not see the next mayor out in the streets like Eric Adams was, trying to put up Eric Adams 2.0. Okay, so the next mayor is not to be in the streets at nighttime, is not to be on the late night talk shows. But I'm sure that we already see right here that Mom Dami just made his move. And then, so for me, when a mayor is looking to go, national, I start thinking that they want to be the president, because in New York, the easiest way to get to the presidency, or so people think, I don't know if there's anybody from New York that actually went to the presidency, but the easiest way to get to the presidency from New York is in the mayor's seat, because you're the mayor of the largest big city, one of the largest big cities in America. And so I'm sure that Mom Dami is excited and hyped at 33, about to be the mayor, and I'm sure that he feels some type of way. Well, I guess he doesn't, because he backed Jimmy Kimmel, but I'm sure that he feels some type of way about Charlie Kirk, who was also 31 in his peer group. So we see that this young group of individuals are young and vibrant, and they so-called see the way. Now the problem, how we got to here, where the 30-year-olds and are looking to keep charge, is that people have been in office too long. So Nancy Pelosi, damn near 90 years old. Maxine Waters, damn near 90 years old, maybe even 92 up there. In the office too long. Okay? Everybody up in there. Everybody up in there needs to, let this go ahead and recycle. And in news, we talk about recycling. Jesse Jackson Jr. is running for Congress yet again. The congressman, former Congressman Jesse Jackson Jr. is running for Congress again, I believe, in now. In this Chicago seat, and what we're talking about is, just how that works. So shout out to Jesse Jackson Jr. He was on my show. He was on one of my panels with his father for his first back and forth conversation a few years back, maybe 2016, 2017, but after he had got out of jail. And he's sound very qualified. I look forward to seeing him back in the seat in the office. And so again, I just believe that people need to leave the office, because what are you doing? You're getting your retirement money. You don't need the money. What are you looking for? The power. Your mind is gone. You need to age gracefully. You don't need to age clogging up the congressional seats and thoughts and creativity that America could be. You are not the answer, Sway. Get out the way. So that's what I'm saying, is term limits. Okay, let me just look and see what I got here. Whoa. Now, I know nobody else is reporting on this today, but former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton went on a show today, and yesterday, and she's in for UN week, and she was talking about the Clinton Global Initiative. Now dig this, people. Now I know this is the first time you heard it, because the first time I heard it, and I heard it right out of the horse's mouth, Mrs. Clinton herself. She said that her and her husband have been working on a new injection drug that prevents HIV and AIDS. Excuse me. Did you hear me? A new injectable drug that prevents HIV and AIDS. And you get it 2 times a year. And it's very expensive in the United States right now. So she said it's about $14,000 in the United States, but they have, with the global initiative and what they've always been doing, according to her, what they're doing is they've got it down to $40. So now I'm going to look forward to seeing that, because she said that President Trump today was going to announce it. So we should hear about this. Now, I worked my first job. Let me tell you a little story. My first job was with HIV/AIDS clients. Okay. And they, this was, back, I was about 28 years old. This is after college and things like that nature. Was I 28? Maybe, no. I was younger than that. I was maybe, I don't know. I was out of college, whatever. So, they told me back then, 1998, that they had a cure for HIV and AIDS. And I'm thinking, and I'm young and dumb at the time. And I'm thinking, why, if there's a cure for AIDS, then why are we not giving it to the people? Oh my God, everybody in here, I was about to run through and tell the residents, they got the cure, they got the cure, the cure is coming. They got the cure, they got the cure, the cure is coming. That's what I was running around. I was the 1998 Paul Revere on HIV/AIDS. Whoa, 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 whoa. But they said, wait a minute, miss. No. What you don't understand is that if they administer everybody in here the cure, we will not have jobs. That's what my supervisor told me. I forget his name or I would blow him up right now. But that's what my supervisor told me. The machismo Hispanic man that was my supervisor at the time. He told me we won't have jobs. Oh, Gonzalez, I think his name was. Okay, so we won't have jobs. I was like, well, I'd rather not have a job. Remember, I'm young. I'd rather not have a job, but then let these people go. They're like, no. That's not how it works. So now they have found the cure. The prevention, not even just the cure, prevention, where you get a shot twice a year. Okay, you get your HIV shot. So now we got HIV shots. You know, we got the measles, the mumps, the HIV shots. So once you start getting the HIV shot, does that mean that you could just go raw dog? I don't know, people. Now, don't test it, don't try it. You heard it here first, but don't run around talking about Jineea said the day I wasn't going to get HIV because I took the HIV medicine. Now, I don't know. You know, now I'm anti-vaccine. You know, I'm anti-vaccine. You got President Trump out here talking about don't take the Tylenol because the Tylenol is giving the kids the autism. What they're trying to find out is they're trying to find out why the excessive number of kids have autism or getting autism after birth and after, you know, coming into our lives. And autism hasn't been, you know, this much. And so people are saying, oh, no, don't take Tylenol. Why shouldn't you take Tylenol? Of course, you should take Tylenol. Now, listen. You know, there was a couple, my friend Erica Gordon Terrell, rest in peace to her. She needed a kidney. And she told me that the Tylenol was giving her ulcers and the Tylenol was a lot of her pain. Another young lady, rest in peace, Saquana Cook, friend of mine on my basketball team. She used to have very, very heavy periods. And she said that it was the Tylenol. She found out that it was the Tylenol that was thinning her blood and making her bleed so much. And then when she stopped the Tylenol, you know, she stopped bleeding. So I don't know, but I do believe that there's more time to look into this. You know, something is actually happening. Something that we're eating is giving us cancer. Something that we're eating is helping with the autism in our young kids. You know, so my thing is, why are we so stuck on the things that we're used to, our normal things? We need to not be stuck in those places with those things. And we're just like, oh no, Trump said don't take Tylenol. And the pundit said, no, there's no truth to that. But do they know? Have they done the research? Now, there was a shooting at a Dallas ICE facility. I believe there may have been a casualty in there. I haven't got the details on that just yet. So if anybody has the details, chime in and let us know what is going on with that. JD Vance, you know, came out and he addressed the nation. He said, you know, this has got to stop. Why are we, you know, going to, you know, so many funerals? Why are we going through so much stuff, you know, political violence and everything that's going on? I mean, listen, there's a lot of people in the United States that knew that when they were coming to the United States, let's be clear, JD, they knew when they were coming to the United States through the Biden-Harris administration that they were breaking the law and that they was going to fight their way out. And some of them are saying, you're not taking me alive, okay? And so Tom Holman is saying the difference. You know, you got Tom Holman there. We're hearing that Tom Holman was being investigated right before he got the job. You know, so there's so much going on. But we're going to take a break and we're going to come right back with the New American Perspective and more news. Of course, we got more news for you here on Millennium News 24. More news, UN week, Congressional Black Caucus coming up that I'm going to be reporting live from this week in DC. And so we'll be right back here on Millennium News TV, your choice for news every day, 24 hours a day. And this is your New American Perspective, because we are the new Americans. No, it's not. Perfect. And we are back. How are you? And we've got our special friend, guest. What you doing over there? You got a tie on? I can't see you. What's going on? Charles Jones in the
Matter
building.
of fact, let me act like I got a tie on.
No. You.
Top button alert.
That's what's up. Look, now you got me all jammed up. So
Top
Charles
button
Jones,
alert.
how are you? Friend of the show, Charles Jones, former NBA basketball player, national coach in the United States, and political commentator here on the New American Perspective. How are you today, Charles Jones?
I'm good. I can't complain. I can't complain. Not that anybody will listen, but I can't complain.
So have you been seeing what is going on in America right now?
I've been getting bits and pieces. Bits and pieces. I've pretty much been in the gym with the kids a little bit, so I may be halfway out of the loop, but I'm getting bits and pieces.
So you did
And,
hear about the assassination of Charlie Kirk.
yes.
What did you think
Yes.
about that?
It's interesting. It's interesting.
Have you
It's
heard? Let me
interesting.
ask you first. Did you hear about Charlie Kirk before you heard about his assassination?
No, not really. No, I
Mhm,
haven't actually. But his assassination and the reaction kind of made me want to look up some stuff. So I
mhm,
seen some of the dialogue he has had with people,
mhm,
and some of the comments.
mhm.
I mean, it's
What
freedom
were
of
your immediate
speech.
thoughts?
It's freedom of speech, and throughout the years, and you grow up, you get growth, you start to understand that people will be people, and people have their beliefs, they'll express them, and also know that attention, whether be it through content, communication, however you want to do it. I mean, they say all promotion is good promotion. So in that space, I mean, people tend to say things, regardless of how you feel. People will say some things that they may later on. And I'm not speaking right now, I'm not speaking about him. I'm just saying in general. People may say
Sure,
some
sure.
stuff that later on they may be like, well, I really didn't, that was out of taken out of context. You just saw the clip, or I didn't mean it like that. But I understand that. I mean, it all depends on your audience, what points you're trying to prove,
Mhm.
and what your agenda is. And obviously, yeah, there's a lot of people, but there's a good amount of people that love him and believed in him, and they were with him. Um,
Yeah, if you seen, there was like they said there was like tens of thousands of people out in Arizona for the memorial. You know, he filled a basketball stadium by himself. You
mm,
know, and so we always think about like music people, trying to fill a stadium, and he filled the stadium and had the overflow room going, and so everybody's saying that we are Charlie Kirk right now. And so I don't think that they really killed him or his mission. I think that they intensified it, which, I don't know
Yes.
where that bullet came from, in the
Yeah.
sense of what it was trying to prove, right? Were you
Yeah.
trying to silence him, or were you trying to make this, big debacle of now having all these young people, rushing to the polls and doing what Charlie Kirk says? And I think that, what Charlie did was he said to young white men, we don't have to be quiet. I think that he was saying what the white guy wanted to say to everybody. I think that he was kind of, took a little bit of shock jock with him and was saying, oh, that the black people are, they're 13% of the population and 50% of the killings, and he would go facts and stuff like that. And then I don't know if he didn't have a college degree. So he was going on, he didn't go to college. So he was going on college campuses. And this is the part where I thought was like kind of creepy, because he was going on college campuses. He didn't get into, I believe it was West Point. And then he started going on college campuses. Somebody started bankrolling him, and he started going on college campuses and debating the kids and trying to be smarter than kids when he didn't even get a college education. So it was interesting, to say the least, about his life. And I did a couple things with Turning Point. I physically didn't meet Charlie, but I had sent them some people during the Trump during the campaign and stuff like that. I didn't get a chance to meet him, but I was very close to meeting him and working with him. But I think that, they didn't want Candace Owens to have any competition.
Mm.
But so let's talk about Kamala Harris, when she was running for office, how did you feel? Like were you supporting her? What was your what was your thought there?
Um, I mean, no, I mean it's that's also interesting because I mean you get and it's on it's both sides of the spectrum. Well, let me say all sides of the spectrum. You get the people who just say, okay, this person is well similar, whatever you want to me, I'm just going to go with them. And uh, my initial instinct is always like the first time I got on here is what do you actually bring to the table? So it's not so much it's like even with basketball, man. It doesn't matter how much I like you, I'm cool with you. What do you bring to the situation that makes sense? So I didn't just jump up and go, yeah, I'm behind that. So now I start going, all right, what makes her qualify for the job, right? But then I also, I mean, obviously from coaching and in sports, I also think the what if this and what about this? So I said, ooh, it might be rough for her to win because you're going to have a bunch of people that I assumed wouldn't vote for her because she was a female.
Mm.
Then
Isn't
you
that
go,
something? I go through that all the time, and I'm just like, what does that mean? And wouldn't vote for somebody because she's a female? That
I
was the only
mean,
place that I felt bad for her.
it's tough because no matter how much you can say that as people we've grown, there's still a level of people who may have it takes time. Everybody grows at their own pace. Everybody
Mm-hmm.
matures at their own pace.
Mm-hmm.
Their ideology may change, it may intensify. Like to go back with the Charlie Kirk thing is sometimes some things have to happen in order for people to either change their approach or their way
Mm-hmm.
of thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it intensifies how you feel. Sometimes something could happen and it makes people that were a little bit more relaxed, a little more dormant. Now they become a little more loud and boisterous with it. So I just knew that there's still a level of people that may be like, I don't know. Like, why should she get the job? And it all comes down to votes. Like even when you do the statistics of the population, it all comes down to who does the census, who does this. So you want like you understand? So I
Uh-huh.
said, okay, even if there's people that vote that haven't voted that's gonna vote because she's running, there are people that's also that haven't voted that's gonna vote against her because she's running.
That's
So I
because.
said,
So here's
what's
the interesting part. So
mhm,
she just came out with a memoir. Okay. She just came out with a memoir. It's called 107 Days. So it's about her 107 days in running for president, right? And
Yeah.
so now she's doming everybody out. She's like, oh, I should have challenged Joe Biden on the fact that he was running for reelection and they rolled me under the bus. So she's now creating crazy ass waves and saying all the stuff that she should have said in those 107 days, all the stuff. And so now I don't know where this is going to take her, right? Because now
Yeah.
everything that you should have said, you're coming out with it. It's kind of like a snitch book to me, like
Yeah,
107 days.
but this kind of like what I said, some people that might have said they weren't going to vote for her because she's a female. You got some people that feel like she might have been a little too emotional, might be a little too emotional, a little more impulsive. And then look, so you do all of this, and then now you do this.
Mm-hmm,
So then
mm-hmm,
it's like, yeah,
mm-hmm.
maybe you shouldn't have been. Maybe you shouldn't have been running,
Yeah,
which is
no,
tough.
because
You don't make yourself look any better doing this. I don't
no,
think
it
so.
did. It doesn't. I think that it really pushes her really, really way, way further outside of everything because it's like, um, what why didn't you say this then? I mean, she's rolling Joe Biden under the bus, she's rolling Jill Biden under the bus, she's smashing them. She is saying the things that we are saying in this book. And so now
Mm,
this is an explosion. It really, now here's the thing. It really got rolled under the table, and which begs for me to think that, I think that, I'm a conspiracy theorist and I think that everything is connected to everything. And so as she's pulling this out, Charlie Kirk gets killed in the book, because you haven't heard about the book, right?
mm-mm.
It's called
What book?
107 Days. And
No.
people really haven't heard about it. And it kind of got pushed underneath the table with all of this other rhetoric going on. And so I think that they're like, we don't want to hear it. She had said that she's not running for governor because she doesn't want to run in this climate. And so I don't know what she's doing next, but her political career, she must have enough money, to keep it moving, because I don't know. I mean, I think that she, thinking the book will be a shocking wave to everybody, but I'm not sure because um, the excerpts to the book, and I'm gonna, push everybody to check out some excerpts to the book and come back and tell us what you thought, because I think it's really, really crazy.
But
Um,
she got you talking about her, so that might be
yeah,
her
no,
game
for sure,
is to
but
try to get some
it's the
type of momentum or
two-facedness.
proposal.
It's two-facedness. Like I was never really with her. We talked about this on this show countless times. I was never really with her because she's trying to be a black woman. And I think that she had an opportunity to say, that I'm a woman of color. I'm a first generation American. My dad was a Jamaican.
Lost you for a second.
And my mom was a Eastern Indian woman that makes me this woman, but I'm not a black American. You understand? I'm not a black American from
I got
down
one
south that wasn't
question.
a slave, that went through all that stuff.
I got one question. The tough part is her time. What was it in California? Um,
Can't hear all of
I'm
a
trying to
sudden.
think. Can you hear me? Hello?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, I can't hear
Can you
you.
hear
Hold
me?
on a second.
You can hear me
Go
now?
ahead, but talk.
Um, so like her time where she becomes part of the problem, well, not problem. People speak on her with incarceration, when incarceration with him, like some incarceration of people. I think that makes it a little tough. Then you add all of this. I just think it makes it a little more tough. But then again, all promotion is good promotion. Could you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. So some people like all promotion is good promotion. You start a pod, she might get some speaking engagements. She may get a new lifeline. She may be looking for some new back and some new people. And this could be her way of trying to separate herself to create. something else.
That's a good one.
But
That's
she
a good
got
one.
a
I'm gonna
lot.
take you up on that podcast. That she's probably looking into that podcast money because that's
Yeah,
a
she probably trying to, create a space for herself and make it seem like, well, I'm gonna disassociate from this and then I'm gonna do this. Like I got some stuff to talk about, which would create the momentum for backing. Um, but like the thing with her, with like I mentioned, and I was trying to remember, well, I think it was California, but she had something to do with incarceration.
mm-hmm.
When incarcerating
Yeah, all those people.
people. Yeah, like man, like I mean, so for me it was going to be a little tough for her because that's the first thing that came up. So I thought with that and with her being a woman, I thought it would be a little tough for her, especially when after Clinton ran, and I thought she had a good shot until it started to fall apart. But I thought if it was going to be a woman that would have won, it would, for lack of a better term, it would probably be a white woman first. I don't know if they would.
Yeah, I thought that was crazy. I'm like,
I
who
don't.
the hell? You think that the hierarchy in this country is gonna let that happen? Let me see. I thought maybe
Yeah,
I was wrong. I was like,
yeah, like
I'm up
it,
next. I'm
yeah,
going next.
yeah. I think it might be. I think I hate to say it, um, but I think we may be a ways away from that happening, especially after Trump get with this experience. I think it makes it even more difficult with Trump being in office right now and what's going on. I think the next person or people that get in, I think it'll be it's going to be a little more interesting
Well, I don't
and
know
a
if
little
you
more.
heard me earlier, but they said that JD Vance was looking to have Charlie Kirk as his vice president. And so that's where we were going down that rabbit hole right there, that okay, we know that JD Vance is going to run for president after Trump. And I really don't like JD Vance because I think that again he's too young. We don't know his ideologies and stuff like
Didn't
that.
somebody else? Hold up, man, I don't know. I can't believe I'm going blank. But didn't
Gavin
somebody
Newsom.
else have somebody a little controversial and they had them picked to be their vice president? The guy with the white hair.
Oh,
Um,
Bernie Sanders.
no, not Bernie Sanders. The person that was supposed to have been the vice president, I believe, had the white hair, gray hair.
For Trump, with Trump.
Was it Trump? No, I don't know. Who else? Name some names. Who was running? There's some people that were running.
White hair. I'm trying to think. White man. You
Oh
saying
my
a
God.
white man?
Yes.
That was supposed to be. You got Bernie Sanders. Oh, no, Newt Gingrich. You got white hair. Nobody. I'm
Hold
trying.
up. Who was the dude that? Hold up. See now I gotta hold on. Who was in? This is bad when I say this. Who was in office before Trump?
Biden.
It was it wasn't. Who was running against Biden?
Trump.
It was Trump.
And you
Oh,
saying I'm trying to think
who Trump had as who he had at the time as his
Oh, you mean Pence? Mike Pence.
what was
Mike
up with
Pence.
Mike Pence? Mike
Mike Pence.
Pence.
You're right. That was the vice
Yes,
president.
Mike Pence.
That was Trump's first vice president.
That was his first vice president, which
Mm-hmm.
was he was a dude. No disrespect to Mike Pence, but he had, you know what I'm saying? He was a little.
He was
Yeah,
stiff. He was definitely stiff.
it was stuff. You know what I'm
He was
saying?
stiff.
It's for lack of a better time. So
So
I
listen,
mean,
let's go to a break real quick, and we're gonna come back and we're gonna
okay.
finish this conversation up because I want to ask you about how what was I did you hear about the new HIV drug that Clinton Global Initiative is putting out? So we'll
No,
go
they
to
got
break
an
and we'll
HIV
come
drug.
right back.
They got
Look it
an
up real
HIV.
quick. We'll go to break and come right back and talk about just the new American perspectives and everything that's going on in this country. We'll be right back here on Millennium News 24.
Oh.
And we are back. You should have. I just tried to get a little juice, so you see me moving around. But so okay. So let me tell you. So I heard Clinton out of her own mouth today. She said her and her husband have a big announcement that they have a new injectable drug that prevents HIV. You get it twice a year and no more HIV. And it's really expensive right now in the United States. And they're trying to get it down, but they've got this drug that prevents HIV. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I was just looking at it. It says injectable, and you got to take it every 6 months. It can be administered every 6 months. I mean, this is touchy for me because this it might be this a little personal. My father passed when I was in high school.
Really?
Yeah, he died from AIDS. So yeah, that's why for you to say this is like
Wow.
wow. You know what I'm saying? This is like wow. This
Mm-hmm.
might this could bring her back in a new space. It's gonna bring her back in them back in a new space.
That's a hell of a pull in right there. I didn't listen.
Let's go put her in a new space. Think about that.
Ooh,
Boom. You
good
put in all of
call
this.
on
You
that
know,
because
man.
we don't have a Democratic presidential nominee.
Boom.
And you
And you
just
come
said
with a
I was
miracle
thinking to
drug,
be the white woman before the black woman.
and you come with a miracle drug. Man.
Wow, that was a good call. Because I was wondering, I'm sitting here like, what she got to say? You know, she looks a lot older, not a little older, but she looks a lot older. But at the same time, she's like, oh, we've got this big announcement. And that's exactly what she was doing. But see, I had already put her outside it. But then, you know, when you have a goal, right, your goal never really goes away. So now they really use Kamala Harris. If that is the case, if they go for that move, then I feel bad for Kamala because then she got pimped, for her 107 days because she went in and she did everything that they needed to do to get the woman feel and all that kind of stuff. And then now you throw Hillary Clinton back in.
Yeah, but I mean, she had a hand in that incarceration to put herself in position in the first place. So I mean, it's tough how the comic energy comes around. Um, it's but this puts Clinton in a tough. This puts their name in a tough space tough space though, man.
Why you
Kamala
say
can
that?
pass you on. I'm saying you come with a miracle, like we saying this is like a miracle drug in a sense. So now you don't have to be as cautious. So people will still being cautious and using protection unless you worried about pregnancy or again HIV and AIDS. I mean, some of the other maybe some of the other STDs and
So does
stuff
that
like
just
that,
condoms?
but you can still take medication for a lot of other stuff. This is one of those like only Magic Johnson had the
but
had the
but wait, did you hear how Magic? Magic got all his blood taken out and put back in.
yeah, I didn't hear
He
that, but
got a
he got
whole new set.
a
He
whole new
got
set
he
of
got a whole new set. Magic
how,
got a whole new blood kit.
yeah,
He got all his blood taken, all the technical blood was taken
yeah.
out of him. He got a whole new set of blood in him.
Yeah, wow,
So
I didn't know
so
that.
he did it all. Like he's a new man. Like he's the
Yeah,
bionic man for that one. Like women ain't taking
yeah,
all his blood out and replacing it. So
yeah.
he's on
Now,
somebody
yeah,
else's blood. I
this
don't
is
know where he's
this this is
he's on.
interesting. Though.
Yeah, no,
This is
that's
interesting.
listen. You just opened up something that I did not. I just saw it and I was just like, what is she doing? She's about to run for
You
president.
know what? What you saying this? I just realized two times this past week, this last week. One time last week, and I want to say over the weekend, I got a call like out the blue. You get the sometimes you answer them, sometimes you don't, the telemarketing. So I wasn't sure if it was telemarketing because the number looked like, I'm like,
Mhm. A
like
regular
oh,
number.
I need to call. I need to answer. And it was CVS telling me that if I was around, if I was available, I was eligible to get the flu. You could come in and get the flu shot. You could come get this. So now imagine this just happened. This was just happening twice. This happened like, and I'm like, then when you say this, man, hey, listen, they're gonna look up people who's in situations. It's like and say, listen, we understand your situation. You could be eligible or would you mind trying this drug so that we can help? Or you're eligible to take this drug. Your
Mm.
coverage, your cover, because it's going to think about it. It's going to be some coverages that's
But
going to look at
I
this.
mean, that's just sick because, like, we were talking about it earlier, and we're saying, okay, so how do you know if the drug works? Because now you're going to try to see if you don't get
Definitely,
HIV, or you not
they going to.
now not going to use
No,
protection again as a community because you got this
mm,
prevention for HIV. I mean, obviously, it doesn't prevent from other uh um diseases, but that was largely the thing. But we also have to realize that they stopped testing for HIV like they did in the past. And I went somewhere and I asked them, I said, why aren't you testing for HIV? And they were like, because it's not, they're not, it's not a disease that's killing people at the same rate. And I'm thinking,
so
no.
like,
So
but you think about it. That's not the. It's a bunch of stuff when you go get blood work that they don't test for unless you ask them.
right.
The number of stuff that they don't that they
But that hurts our community the most because our community is not going to ask. They're going to think if they even get to the doctor, right? They're going to be like, okay, well, I'm just going to expect you, doc, to look out for me. But you're right. They don't just administer. You have to ask for the HIV. Remember, they was like, I need you to sign this so you can get this test because they wanted to know who. But now we're finding out that Georgia HIV rates is crazy. But so after your HIV rates are crazy, and I guess there is a drug that maintains the HIV and all that stuff. But now what if now you could have waited until the prevention to get the
Oh, but
preventable
see,
piece.
this way you got it. See, you said you the conspiracy theorist, so you should have already been thinking. You should have put two and two together, right? So you said they haven't been tested, and all of a sudden you said they're a drug. And you got to create the demand. If you think about it, when you want to sell something, you have to create the demand. So here you go. You start testing it. You let people spread it a little bit. So then you get to the point where now you have a Georgia who will need it. And hey, look, miraculously, because remember how long it takes to do some of this stuff. So it's not like you could just say, okay, Georgia has an issue. We're going to start making this drug and boom, you have it. You got me? So they would be like, come on. Like, come on. I mean, it's
Wow, that's huge. That's a huge start in that thing because I was wondering what was happening. I'm like, why are they? And then now, like I said, Georgia is like big place for HIV AIDS. Everybody has rushed there. All New Yorkers. A lot of people are living down there. And doing
but
the whole Georgia thing.
you know what? You said it was no, just it's not really just us. There's a lot of people. There's a whole class of remember you got the and I don't want to just say the undocumented, but you got people who can't afford to have insurance, can't afford to do the copay. Some may have Medicaid or whatever, but can't get there. They can't even get to the doctor, or don't have the time. You got to work two or three jobs just to cover your bills. You can't even
Mm.
get to go get checked out. But um, you have some people in some of these towns that don't, that just don't go to the doctor self-medicate, or if they do, they probably not just think about how many places they're not wasting their time. And I hate to say that, but they're like the same way you said it's not killing people, they're not wasting their time. So because then at the same time they say you test people. You got people that either don't have it, people that don't want to take it, don't even want to take the test. And if they do take the test, they don't even want to know.
Right.
They don't even want to know the results. So then it
Remember those
becomes,
days? Remember those days you were sitting there like this? Uh, oh my
yeah,
God, and then you
yeah,
having to have the courage, to find out, like, did I, what did I do?
yeah,
And then now you're right. People don't even have the courage to even take the test or even get the
yeah.
results. I remember some people splitting before they came back. Yeah, I took the test, but I didn't even find out what it is. These days you got to walk around with them papers, people. So thank you so much, Charles, for joining us today. Let me just say this before we go. So at the UN, I believe it was yesterday, Trump said inflation defeated, the price is down, the stock market's at a record high, and what else? What else does he need to do? So what grade would you give President Trump in his first 9 months in office and 3 more years to go? What's your grade for President Trump?
I think it's too early to grade. I mean,
Ah,
I started
he's
off
not getting a
rough.
midterm grade from you or a
Nah,
first
he
year
can't get a
grade.
midterm. He can't get.
You're
He
not gonna
can't.
tell
He
him.
can't. He can't. No, not yet. If anything, you can do the progress report, but you can't get it. You can't. We're not even at the midterm yet. We
Okay,
don't even at the
okay, okay.
midterm yet. So it started off rough. School just started off rough. And then now you're using. Come on, you know how you can pick and choose what you want to make it sound good,
Uh-huh.
but we got to see how things go. We got to
Mm-hmm.
see how things go. But I will say this: I've been places where gas has jumped up and down like every day. I haven't seen numbers jump like this, and I'm just there. Like I went to the front on a Monday, and you go and you pass by maybe Tuesday and then Wednesday. Like, damn, 30 cent jump. And it could be just certain places and people playing with the numbers because they're close to the interstates or whatever. But I mean, it's you still got the whole beginning was rough, man, with the ice and all and everything. He got a lot of. Ooh, then I mean, it's not the rest, not us, but with what's going on abroad, and it's almost like a disregard.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to see. It's still,
Mm-hmm.
it's still
Well,
early.
and just to close, the Hamas has asked Trump to help him with a 90-day or 90 or 60-day ceasefire to give more than half of the rest of the hostages back. And so we're going to see how that transpired. And so we'll tap in next week.
That's
Maybe
what I'm
Charles can come
saying.
back with us next week and see
We
what's
got to
going
see it.
on, see how you feeling.
Yeah, no, definitely. And with him, it's almost like a TV show. You got to see what happens in the next episode.
I
You
think
know, he
he's
got,
on it too. I think he knows that he's on the show. Like, what are we doing today, folks? What is, the whole scenario? So, again, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for your insight because now I'm on Hillary Clinton's butt, okay? Because I knew that she felt some type of way about Kamala Harris. And I know they're trying to figure out who is going to be their next nominee. And then we also have Gavin Newsom, who stood up to Trump last week, and he was talking all that. He was real presidential. He was standing up straight. He's all presidential. So we will see where things are going. And they eliminated at least one person out of the Republican piece, and that is Charlie Kirk. Rest in peace to Charlie Kirk. And so sorry for his family, friends, and all the supporters around the world. Never
yeah.
any hate for anybody losing their lives, and let God fight the battle. That's how I look at it. So again, thank you, Charles. Thank you, Millennium News 24, and we will be back next week
Thanks
to
for having
see
me.
update you.